Welcome to HQ Spotlight Wednesday edition. We're starting a midweek show 4 wide for this A block. Jeremy St. Louis alongside Haley Sutton. Leger Douzable is here. Pete Prisco is here. Pete just telling us that you don't go outside if it's below 75 degrees in Florida.
Well, I go outside, but I prefer it being 80 and above. That's my preference.
Do you put on a toque?
A guy from Canada loves it a little chilly.
Loves the 35-degree weather.
Love it. Love it. A little bit chilly, yeah. Okay, look, hey, week 7 of the NFL is here, and we have some big matchups, including a Super Bowl rematch as the Chiefs and 49ers face off. Chiefs, of course, sitting at 5-0, Niners at 500. Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes, are going to start with him because he says, look, Super Bowl or not, this is a big game for both. Take a listen.
I think it's as big as a regular season game you could play in. But, I mean, they're a great football team, and I always like going up against the best, and that's what we're going up against this week. And so we understand that it's going to be a big game. We understand that it's going to take our best to win. And so you just have to have extreme focus and know that it's going to be one play that kind of decides the entire game. You have two great football teams that meet up in the Super Bowl and meet up in all these big games. There's going to be a history between that. And so obviously we've been able to win those games, but we know how good this football team is, and we have a ton of respect for them. And so it's not like one play couldn't have changed all these football games. And so we're going with that mindset of we just got to make the plays whenever they count.
So Patrick Mahomes saying all the things you would expect him to say ahead of a big game like this. Pete, it's a Super Bowl rematch, but is this a Super Bowl preview for you?
No, but, I mean, it could be. They have some problems to fix.
So it is? It's not?
Well, they're two good teams. I think the 49ers version that we're seeing now is not a Super Bowl team. I mean, they went to Seattle and beat the Seahawks, and they look good doing it, but they're still not as good on defense as they have been, and that to me is the biggest concern. They've been a team, when you took the field against them on defense and faced that defense, you knew they were going to get physical with you. They were going to knock the quarterback down. They were going to be in your face all the time. They have not been that so far, and that's my biggest concern with the 49ers.
Well, I'll go to the other side, the Kansas City Chiefs, and surprisingly, they're actually dogs in this game. You know how Patrick Mahomes feels when he it doesn't matter. Patrick Mahomes is going to use that fuel to the fire.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, I remember 2 years ago when this game was played. It was right after Christian McCaffrey got traded, and I believe the 49ers were favored in that one, and Kansas City boat raced them in San Francisco. When you look at Patrick Mahomes, they're coming off a bye. Kind of both of these teams, right? Because San Fran is coming off a mini bye playing on the previous Thursday night. I love what Andy Reid has done on offense. Like, still there's issues with the receiving core there when Rasheed Rice got hurt. But he's got inventive, Pete, right? We're going heavier personnel, 12, 13, 14. And when I say that, one back, 3 tight ends, 4 tight ends, and they're still stretching the field. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster was amazing the last time they were out versus New Orleans Saints. Now, I still think they do need a number 1 receiver, but with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and the way they're so inventive on offense, that was the best Patrick Mahomes has looked all season long.
I was going to say that. It's too bad they go to San Francisco with a game manager at quarterback.
There was one game we gonna see. I think Patrick Mahomes is still a mini go.
That's what he called them.
But literally, that's what he had to do last year. And again, this year, I think he managed the game differently versus the Saints. I thought he was efficient with the football. They ran it some. Kareem Hunt was really good. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster, I don't think anybody saw that. I don't know if he can replicate that throughout the entire season. But I love how Patrick Mahomes played last week.
I'm so mad. I saw you smirking, and I knew that's what you were
He's never living that one down. He will never live that down.
He managed the game last year all the way to the Super Bowl.
It's an insult.
Oh, man, a battle of the game managers in that one. Let's go to another rematch. Revenge is the theme in this A block here. Sean Payton going back to New Orleans for the first time to face his former team. Pete, when you look at what he's done with the Broncos up to this point, right, what I just wrote it down, they're 3-3. The Saints are 2-4, which is kind of stunning when you think about how the Saints started the season. But how big of a win, personally, on the score sheet, all the things, how big of a win would it be for Sean Payton back at home?
Knowing Sean Payton the way I know him, he's a very vengeful guy. I think he's going to take great pride in trying to win this game, and if he wins it, I think it will mean a lot to him. And again, this is a guy, remember, he had a lot of different things go wrong in New Orleans, and some of it self-inflicted. So, but it was a great experience. They won a Super Bowl there. He had Drew Brees. Was, you know, the type of situation you envy when you're running an organization, coach and quarterback. They had that relationship, and so I think it's going to be personal for him. The problem is, and he will know this, going there and playing there on a short week in that building is hard to do. And so I think it's a real challenge, particularly for a rookie quarterback on the road. So it's going to be hard for them to win that game. And in fact, I think the Saints will win the game, but it'll be personal for Sean Payton.
The interesting thing is that it'll be two rookies playing in this game, right? Spencer Rattler has taken over because Derek Carr is hurt right now. And when you look at Sean Payton, we just saw the graphics. Most wins in Saints history. He's the only coach to deliver a Lombardi to that city. So, like Pete said, he is going to be excited. You never want to lose against your ex, right? You know, you never want to lose against your ex. So he wants to go down and play a really good game. They're coming off a tough loss. Bo Nix did not look good in the first three quarters. Came alive in that fourth quarter, using his legs, using his mobility to get outside and throw the ball down the field. But they have to start faster in this game because, like Pete said, that is a tough place to play. And the last thing you want is to be in third and long versus that defensive line.
All right, well, continuing with the revenge theme, we also get running back Saquon Barkley heading back to the Big Apple to face the Giants, the team that let him walk in free agency. We all watched it on Hard Knocks in the offseason. Pete, do you expect Barkley to just run ragged all over this Giants team?
Well, you know, the Giants' defense has actually been
really
pretty good.
Yeah.
They got a guy in the middle of that defense named Dexter Lawrence. It's hard to move him.
Pretty good.
And he can also rush the passer. So, and the Eagles haven't been great. I mean, that offense has been inconsistent. They have the coach yelling at Nick Sirianni, yelling at the fans. Which is that's never a good look. And so I think he needs to focus on getting his offense to play better and his defense to be better. So it's going to be a challenge. That's not an easy game. When you go play a division foe, that's a tough game. They do get a little bit of a break on the other side of the ball because Thomas is out for the year now, the left tackle. He's their best offensive lineman. But as far as Barkley, you know, these revenge games, what does that mean?
Damian Harris did say, because I asked him that question, are there such things as revenge games from the player perspective? And Damian said, heck yeah. And we were talking about it with Stephon Diggs.
And then I would ask Damian this then. Does that mean you don't work as hard in the other weeks that you do during that week?
I think it's less about working hard and more. It's bulletin board
You've been around the game long enough to know.
And I never bought it. I remember going through locker rooms telling coaches.
Do you have revenge games?
No, there's definitely revenge games, but to Pete's point, right, you have to be smart because if you exert too much energy because you want a good showing, it could take you out your element. And Saquon definitely wants to show well, but at the end of the day, like Pete said, this offense has been abysmal, right? They have bigger fish to fry if they want to continue to win games and potentially win the NFC East because that Commanders team is legit, right? Dallas has struggled. I know, Haley, I'm sorry to say that.
Okay.
But if you're Saquon Barkley, you need to be more concerned about why this offense is not taking off with all the talent that they have. Like the first two games versus the Packers and the Saints, I felt like they leaned on Saquon Barkley, and they haven't done that the last few weeks. They have not run the ball efficiently. It was awful of them running the ball this last week, and they just squeaked by a Cleveland Browns team that has been awful this year. So if you're Saquon, yes, you're hyped to play your old team because you felt like maybe they didn't do you right. But you have bigger concerns right now for the Philadelphia Eagles on offense.
But all I'm saying about the revenge stuff is if you don't work the same every week, sure, you're
going to work the same for sure.
Right. So I never
went to a division rival.
He just wants to stick it to him.
Like, come on.
He wants to stick it to him.
But I think it's less, Pete, about the work rate and more about like how the result will make you feel. Like Saquon's not going to work any harder, but he's going to feel better getting a win against Philly.
Will you feel better beating your former team? Absolutely. Is it going to make you play harder and play faster and play better? Absolutely not. Nah, no way.
You definitely want to show well versus your old team. And like you said, like you hate to lose against, like we talked about it with Sean Payton. You hate to lose to your ex. You do not want to lose this game.
One quick thing. You always get on Josh Allen about turning the ball over. What about Jalen Hurts? Are we starting to get really concerned about
think people have been saying it the whole season. Like it's been a drop-off, a regression since that 2022 season when he went to the Super Bowl where I think everybody would argue he was the best player on the field, even with Patrick Mahomes on that field. It's been a steady regression for him in regards to turning the football over. I just don't know what isn't clicking for him. Again, you change two offensive coordinators in back-to-back years. That's a struggle, but turning the football over is a you thing. That's not on the coordinator.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens if Saquon runs all over them because Joe Shane's going to be under even more pressure after what we saw in Hard Knocks.
No revenge games, though, Jeremy.
That's right. Everybody tries hard every week.
Fun league.